All right, welcome. If you're new, my name is Jo, and it is time to begin our cozy spooky reads. So I asked on my Instagram which of my library haul I should start with, and Ghost Squad was picked. This is by Claribel A. Ortega, who is the author of Witchlings, and I absolutely loved that book. Yes, so that is what we're starting with. Hello. So I have finished Ghost Squad. It wasn't that I didn't like this book, it just really did not capture me. I really liked the premise and kind of like the setting and everything. It actually reminded me a lot of Encanto, and I think that it is totally precious and the characters were really sweet. So the main character is a young girl who, in her family, they can see like ghosts of their ancestors and their family members as like fireflies that then kind of convert into ghosts and they can talk to them and everything. It's just her and her dad at home, but they have all these other family members that are with them, and it has a very similar vibe, to the Encanto house with all of the extended family members and everything, and they are Dominican, or like Dominican heritage. Unfortunately, the plot I don't know, there was something about it that did not feel fleshed out or well thought out, or I don't know. Although I didn't really love this one, I still think this one is worth a shot, and maybe it will, work better for you than for me. I definitely will follow anything else that this author writes. I believe she has one more book that's already out, and then the sequel to Witchlings will be coming out next year, so I do want to read both of those. So, even though I have only read one of my books so far, I went to the library and got more. I got Root Magic by Eden Royce, and this is set in 1963 in the time of kind of integration in the South, in South Carolina, and I believe it is about twins, and their family member is about to teach them about their root magic. And then, I don't know why I got this whole series, I just got all three that the library had, but this is The Blue Witch by Elaine Adams, maybe? And this is another magical school setting. Seems similar to this one as in that they're both doing poorly in their magical schools, and so I need to pick my next one. I think I'm gonna try Eva, although the graphic novel could be quick. I think I'm going to read Mooncakes because I think that this one is going to need to go back to the library, and so I should probably get on that. Hello! Just some quick reading updates. I read Mooncakes. This is really precious. I had heard so many people talk about this. It has hard of hearing, disabled representation, non-binary representation, lesbian, just a lot of representation. This is the story of a witch who lives with her grandmothers, who is kind of childhood friends with a werewolf who is kind of in some trouble, kind of a dangerous situation, and so they have to try to solve that. It is extremely endearing, just very heartwarming. I really hope that there will be more books, because there were these spirit creatures that were just the cutest thing, and I want a book that talks about them in more detail. They were just kind of minor characters in this one. Yeah, if you need a cozy, comforting read for any time of year, but particularly kind of the witchy season, this is really precious. Definitely recommend. I have started it in Spanish as well. I'm only just a couple chapters into it, but I am just immediately rereading it in Spanish, and I don't think it'll take too long. I did start Ava Evergreen. I read the first few chapters of this earlier, and now I'm listening to it as an audiobook. I'm about 30% through, and it is very, very cute. It reminds me a lot of Witchlings. I do think this came out first, but they came out very close together. The title is Ava Evergreen, a Semi-Magical Witch. So Eva is the daughter of one of the most powerful witches in the world, and she is magical, but really struggles to be magical. It does not have very strong powers yet, and so she's kind of struggling to find and maintain her place in the magical world, and so she needs to prove herself in order to keep moving forward on the path to becoming a witch. So very, very cute and endearing so far. Right now it is the 7th of October, and I kind of made up in my mind that I was going to read cute witchy books for the first half of October, and then spooky horror whatever books for the second half of October. So I'm starting to feel the pressure to get through some of these books, which is ridiculous because I just made this up in my head, but I am going to try to finish this audiobook. Today I have a lot of clothes folding and rearranging still to do. I'm rearranging my entire apartment and deep cleaning and getting rid of things. So hopefully that will give me lots of audiobook time. I am also listening to the audiobook Killers of a Certain Age. It's not exactly cozy spooky, but it is kind of, because it's very endearing. I don't know, it's just a fun listen. It's essentially about a group of female assassins who have reached retirement age and are kind of figuring out how to get out of the business or whatever, and obviously that's not going super well for them. So yeah, so anyway. Hello, attempt at a spooky setup here. Got this light bulb that's supposed to be purple light. It like barely does anything, so alright, that's gonna have to do. That's my spooky setup. Update. I did finish Mooncakes in Spanish yesterday. Obviously it's the same in Spanish as it is in English, but definitely recommend, and I think it was a pretty simple read if you are not a native Spanish reader. I think it would be a good one. I am 60% through the audiobook of Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch, and I am really, really enjoying it. I really like the world building. I'm hoping that the second book, if I listen to that one as well, I'm hoping that it will go a little bit more in depth into the world, because they talk about other towns and other, areas. And she describes like the downtown area of the town really well and everything, and I just think it would be really, really cool to see more of the world. Really, really enjoying this. And then this weekend I also read The Blue Witch. So this is the first series of the Witches of Orkney. In this book you are following a young witch named Abigail who is kind of struggling to do well in her witching education, similar to this one, but they're very different books. So she is at kind of a very, very stern, austere witching academy where there's really no like warmth or care or anything like that. She's kind of an outcast. She doesn't know who her mother was, and everyone else's magic is green, like when they cast spells and stuff. Witchfire is green and hers is blue, and she doesn't know whether it will be okay if people find that out and that sort of thing. And so this was really, really fun to read. I don't think it was like groundbreaking or anything like that, but very cozy. It kept me interested. If I have time, I will probably try to get to the other two that I have out from the library. I would like to see how this turns out, and it was a really, really quick read. I can't remember when I last updated, but I have finished Ava Evergreen, and it was very cute. Basically, so she has to go on her kind of first training, proving herself mission, where she has to go help a town somewhere in the kingdom, and in typical her fashion, you know, it doesn't go super smoothly. So it was super endearing. I don't think it will necessarily stick with me, you know, like it was just a fun reading experience. So I have started Root Magic. So far it is good. It reminds me a lot of middle grade from like my childhood. So far, the twins have started school, and they have also at home started to be taught some of the root magic, and that's as far as I've gotten. So this is just my booktuber, bookstagram life of getting a stack of books ready to take outside to take pictures of. Hello! It is October 16th, I think? Yes. I have kind of run out of time on my cozy spooky season reads. I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen because I always vastly overestimate how much I can read, but I really, really want to get into some of the horror and thrillers that I had planned for the rest of this month, so I am going to hit the pause button on cozy reads. I do have these continuations of the books that I read in this vlog still, and I am going to give them back to the library. They have the audiobook of the second Ava Evergreen book at the library, so I will probably listen to that sometime relatively soon. And if I get in the mood for more cozy reads, I definitely will consider picking up the next two books in the Orkney, Witches of Orkney series, because they look really, really cute. I love these covers. And then Root Magic, I have decided I'm actually going to push into Indigathon, since it is written by an author who is a member of the Gullah Geechee Nation. And yeah, so that works out well. Let me rank what I read. So I think Mooncakes was probably the favorite, but Ava Evergreen would be a very, very close second. The Blue Witch, this one was really, really fun. A very cool mixing of Norse mythology and witchcraft. Very cute, quick read. Killers of a Certain Age was very fun to listen to, but ultimately I was left a little bit disappointed. I kind of had a problem even telling the characters apart, and they read much younger than they actually were supposed to be. I still really enjoyed the listen, and I think that if you need kind of a soft thriller, I think it's a good read, but I was disappointed. It started out really strong. I loved the premise of it, and then I didn't end up actually loving it. And then Ghost Squad just didn't quite work out for me. Again, I loved the setting and the characters so much, so I think that this is something that I would recommend that people try reading, because I do think that it could have just been me. It could have just been the mood that I was in, or that I maybe missed something that was really, really crucial to the plot development or something. I don't know, it just didn't feel cohesive to me. I didn't really get the plot in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, loved the setting, loved the thought process behind it. So I didn't dislike this book at all, but it just didn't hold quite the same magic for me. I didn't read it in this vlog, I read it in a different one, but still my number one recommendations for a cozy spooky season read is Witchlings. I just loved it so much, but none of the books in this vlog would I say don't waste your time trying, so I would call that pretty successful. So now we're gonna get into a little bit more of creepy or scary season reads. But anyway, let me know if you've been reading anything spooky season themed, what you've been enjoying, etc., and I will see you in the next video.